chug a beer, run 400 meters, chug a beer, run 400 meters, repeat until you get to 4 beers a mile. That's what the beer mile is. If you haven't done a beer mile yet, you should. I did my first beer mile 11 years ago. I have a beer mile coming up exactly next week in Michigan. I'm excited. I'm going to go up there for vacation, and every year I do a beer mile out there. It is the most fun thing you could ever do. I've learned a lot by doing a beer mile. I know it sounds kind of crazy. People look at me like, beer mile, like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not drinking 4 beers, running a mile, all within 8-9 minutes, whatever it is. They think I'm crazy. Well, let me tell you something. When I first was told about a beer mile, I thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. My wife's cousin, his name is Paul, had told me, because I go to Michigan every summer, and he talked about a beer mile. And I'm like, okay, describe it to me. What's a beer mile? So you chug a beer, run 400 meters, you do it 4 times. Hey man, I don't drink beer. I struggle drinking 1 beer. I can't imagine drinking 4 beers. I said, if I were to try that, it would literally be the greatest achievement of my lifetime. To drink 4 beers in 8 minutes or whatever, there's no way I could do that. In fact, he created a koozie for me that says, this would be the greatest achievement of my life. Because I had never drank that many beers in 1 day, much less in 8 minutes. All right, let me tell you a little history about me and drinking beer. When I was in junior high, my aunt Chabela, love you Chabela, she put myself and my cousins, her children, into a room, and she gave us a beer. I'm not sure if you guys ever had a Tecate beer, but it's the nastiest beer out there. She gave us a Tecate beer. She goes, you guys can't leave the room till you all finish this Tecate beer. And it took us hours and hours. I don't even think we finished the beer. We were in junior high. That was terrible beer, terrible. And we just couldn't drink a beer. Freshman, sophomore year of high school, my older brother took my best friend and I, David, to Mexico. We lived by the Mexican border. We crossed over. We went to the Alaskan. I think we went to the Jet Set. If anybody's from the 80s remembers crossing over to Mexico and going to those nightclubs. My brother bought my best friend and I a Tecate beer, and David and I shared the beer, and we literally took us all night to drink this beer. So when cousin Paul says, you chug a beer, run a lap, and you do it 4 times, like, there's no way I could do that. So I started training, began training how to even chug a beer. I don't even know how to chug a beer. How long did it take? 30 seconds, a minute and a half? Well, the more research I did is you got to do it like in 15 seconds if you want to be competitive. So I started training myself. Here's a kind of an interesting note, though. For the beer mile, it's got to be above 5% alcohol, and so it's a very potent beer that you drink. So it's not as easy as drinking a light beer. It's got to be a strong beer. So I started training myself. How am I going to handle that? All right, so here are 3 things that I learned from 10 years. I'm about to do 11 years. 10 years of doing the beer mile. First and foremost, I'm glad cousin Paul introduced me to the beer mile. Typically, I kind of grew up very conservative, kind of closed-minded, and doing a beer mile kind of opened my mind. Like, okay, I got to try new things. This is something I would never really do, have an interest in. I'm not a drinker, especially a beer drinker. I'm more of a margarita kind of a guy, Jack and Coke, something like that. And so my first beer mile out there, you chug a beer, you run. Well, at the end, I didn't know this, but you end up having the perfect buzz and you have the perfect runner's high. It was amazing. And then we took a shot of Patron. Of course, we had to, or not Patron. We took a shot of something else, tequila. I don't know what tequila it was. But I'm so happy that I opened my mind to that I was, that I was able to let some kind of an event into my world. And I look forward to it now. And it's actually I keep doing it every year, but not the same people join me because they all have excuses. Because it is kind of like it is a challenge, right? Here's the second thing I learned. This is the most important thing that I learned from the beer mile. And the people that I do it with, some of these are milers in college. Some of them are milers in high school. They can run a sub 5-minute mile. Some of these people really drink a lot of beer. So I'm intimidated in the sense where they're good runners and they're good drinkers. I'm an average runner and I'm an I don't drink beer. So, but what I do have is grit. When you drink that first beer, we're all kind of finished around the same time. We all do our first lap around the same time. Try to do it all the first, each lap under 2 minutes. Second beer, this is when you really start to separate between the competitors, and because you have all this liquid in you, and it's hard to chug beer when you're breathing hard. But it's that third beer where it gets very interesting. That's when you start to see people throw up. You start to see people can't finish a beer. By the way, if you throw up, you have to do a whole nother lap. That's really where we separate the men from the boys. But it's that fourth beer that, while everybody's kind of falling off, it's where I get my second win. Something about that fourth beer that I just love. I don't know what it is, but you're just so full of liquid, and it just wants to come out, and you're tired. It's a perfect combination of will and strength, which what I call grit. And so I learned that I have a lot of grit, and these youngins haven't developed that grit yet. The college miler on the floor throwing up, and all these guys, and throwing up everywhere, or can't finish their beers. So grit. And the third thing that I've learned that I carry into life is like, man, we got to make the most of life. It's fun. Stuff like this is fun. You know what? It is so fun that you're going to see me train right now. All right, let's do it. You guys are going to see how fast I can drink this cold beverage. My goal for next Saturday is to go sub 8, which means I need to run. So where we run is on a dirt road that has rocks that goes up a hill. So it's a little bit challenging of a course. But I got to drink my beers between 15 and 20 seconds. Okay. And I've got to run my 400 meters in about a minute 30 to minute 45, somewhere around there, so I can be sub 8. So here's my cold beverage. Here's my koozie. This is our 10th annual, a decade of running and chugging, 10 years of the beer mile. This was our last year's logo, celebrational koozie, with my quote that says, "This would be the greatest achievement of my life," and it was, and I love it. All right, so we're going to see how fast I can drink this cold beverage. I'm not going to tell you the brand. They're not sponsoring me. At the lake, somebody opens our bottles for us. So I did it here. All right. Whew, I'm nervous. My goal is between 15 and 20 seconds. I've never done it sitting down, so I'm a little bit nervous. I've never done it in front of I don't know how many viewers, but here we go. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, 17 seconds. It's empty. You got to do that at the end. 17 seconds. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, next Saturday, my 11th annual beer mile. My goal is to go sub 8. It's going to be tough, but I'm going to give it my best. I'll let you guys know how it goes. Do me a favor. Hit subscribe, hit like. If you know of any beer miles around the country, I will be there. I love a good beer mile. I do it in Michigan by a lake because that's where we vacation, so it's safe. We finish drinking. We finish the beer mile. And then we just spend the whole day doing lake activities, cornhole, those kind of games, football. You know how much I love football. So, anyways, do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit like. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to do a beer mile, if you know about a beer mile, let me know. You guys have a good one. Take care. Bye bye.